welcome back to Alaskan Homemaker. I'm Mary. Today we are going to make Galbi-Jjim. It's beef short ribs. This is a great way to use short ribs, my favorite way to cook short ribs. The last time I made this, my son said, "Mom, you should make this more often." It's a rainy day today, so it's a perfect day to braise these short ribs all day and have a nice dinner tonight. So I've got my pot of water over here and I've got it on high, and we are going to get these frozen ribs down into the water. I hope you all are having a great day today. Ooh, there we go. I will link this recipe in the description box below. These are so easy to make, but they're really delicious. I'm also doubling this recipe. Short ribs don't have a lot of meat on them, so I like to braise a lot of them while I'm going through the effort. And if we have any leftovers, I can just freeze them or use them for lunches or whatever. And while we're getting these to boil, we're going to go ahead and make our sauce. And I'm going to double the sauce. So we're going to use 2/3 cup of soy sauce. I'm using liquid aminos. Okay, there we go. We've got 2/3 cup of liquid aminos. And we've got 2/3 cup of water. And we're going to add a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. This is a 1/4 cup, so I'm going to put 2. We're going to put 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper. We're going to get 1 teaspoon of ginger. This is ginger that I froze. I chopped it up a bit, but it needs diced up a little bit finer so that nobody gets a huge hunk of ginger. And this is my garlic from my garden from last year. I pureed it and froze it. And we need 16 cloves of garlic, so I'm just going to cut off a chunk of that. I'll get these back in the freezer. Garlic is already pureed, so I'm just going to slice it up and drop it down in there so it can melt faster in our sauce. And then we're going to chop up this ginger a little bit finer. Okay, and that looks pretty good. We'll get that into our sauce. all those little pieces down into there. Okay, and now we'll give our sauce a little stir. Okay, and now we're just gonna let these boil, and then I'll bring you back for the next step. Our ribs have been boiling for 30 minutes, and now we're gonna get them washed up. So here they are. We're gonna wash them up. All the gunky stuff comes out when you first boil the meat. So now we're gonna get them washed up and start braising them. Now we're going to get some cold water on them. And I've got a clean pot here that we're going to get our ribs into. Okay, and then when they're cool enough to handle, just give them a good scrub. And we'll get them into our pot. And I'm going to get this on a medium heat. Here's our sauce that we made. So we're just going to pour this over our ribs. We're going to get all that good sauce out and the brown sugar that is kind of on the bottom. Okay, and the liquid is still low, so I'm going to add some water. And as it's boiling all day, I'm going to give it a mix so nothing sticks to the bottom. And they don't need to be completely covered, but I just wanted the liquid up a little bit so they can braise in that good liquid and soak it up. And then I'll be putting the ones that are on top underneath, and the ones, flipping them around so that they can all get soaked into that good juice. I'll pour the rest of that in there. Okay, and I'll bring you back in a bit. I forgot to tell you that I do have the lid on. I'm going to let it braise all day with the lid on and then just give it a stir every now and then. So I'll be back. Our ribs have been boiling for a little bit. I'm just going to remove some of these bones that have come loose. That way there's a little bit more room for the meat to go down into the braising liquid. Okay, and it's okay if some are still, of the bones are still in there. I just wanted to make a little bit more room because the bones have a lot of calcium and good minerals and collagen going into the broth. So, but just to make a little more room, I got some of them out. Okay, and now we're going to cover that back up. And we're going to get our rice soaking. If you soak your rice, then it cooks really fast. So even though it's early, it's only about 12. o'clock right now. I've got some jasmine rice, and we're going to get it into our rice cooker pot. And I always like to rinse my rice 3 times. So I just guess how much rice I want. Get that in there. Okay, and then I just swish it around and rinse it 3 times. Okay, and now we're just going to pour off the water as much as we can without the rice going down the drain. Hope you can see that good. Okay. And now we're going to do that 2 more times. You can swish it and agitate the rice. And then pour that off. If you don't have time to soak your rice, it's no worries. I do like the texture when I do have time to soak the rice. All right, and now we're going to get it filled to the right level. Okay, and I have it about a 1/2 inch above the top of the rice. And I like to dry off the outside of the rice cooker pot before I set it in there. Okay, that's pretty dry. So now I'm just going to set it down in my rice cooker and close the lid, and I'll just let that sit there until tonight when I want to get it started for dinner. It's been about an hour and the liquid has been evaporating a little bit, and I took some more of the bones out, and now I'm going to cover it back up. I've been having it on a medium heat, but I turned it down to low, pretty much as low as it can get. That way it can just simmer. The short ribs have a lot of oil, so we're going to skim off some of the oil and just put it in this so we can get rid of it. As much as I can right now, and you can continue to skim off the oil if you want to. And I'm just going to let this continue to braise. So as you see a lot of the oil collecting, you can just skim that off. Okay, I'll see you back in a bit. It's 4:14 right now, so it's still early before dinner, and I'm going to let all of these cool off, all the rib meat. That way I can take all of the fat off and these little pieces of whatever they are. And I'll be able to get the meat off of this, because I don't like all this tendons or whatever and the fat on the meat. So I'm just going to let it cool off, all of these pieces of rib meat, and then I'll show you how I am going to take it off, and then I'll put it back in the sauce. So I'm just going to let these cool down, and then I'll be back. The meat has cooled down, and so now we're going to get all of those fat and tendons off of the meat. So I'm just peeling all that stuff off. And some pieces have a lot of fat on them, so I'm going to peel that off because we don't want to eat that. And most of these like tendon things just come will peel right off. Here's all the kind of the fat, the tendons, and stuff we don't want to eat right here that I separated from the meat. And then here's all the good, delicious meat. And I put that back in the sauce, and we're just going to let that warm up. And then it'll be ready. This meat is really tender because we've been braising this all day, and it's going to have that delicious flavor soaked up in there. And I'm just going to put a little drizzle of light corn syrup on here. Just a little one. And now we'll give this a stir. All of that sauce has infused our meat, and the juice is thickened up, and this is going to be really good. So once it's heated back up, then we'll be ready to serve. Here's our delicious Galbi-Jjim, and I made some cucumber kimchi with cucumbers from my garden, and we've got some rice to serve it with. And now it's time for the taste test. It is so delicious. It's so tender, and all that flavor soaked into the meat. It's really good. You guys should give this a try. Super easy to make. And here's our cucumber kimchi from the garden. Ooh, this is all so good. It melts in your mouth. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope the rest of your day is blessed, and I will see you next time. Bye.